You're wondering what all of that is about? Well, you're about to find out. If you looked at the top left part of that screen, you see, while that song was on, you see a particular logo. We're not selling the logo, but we're selling the person behind it. We're speaking with the person behind it this morning. Please welcome, popularly known as K-Sticks, Dr. Kunle Pinmiloye. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here today.
He's an award-winning international musician, professional drummer, drum instructor, music lecturer, music producer, choir trainer, and conductor.
Only you.
Yes.
By the grace of God.
And for almost 20 years, K-Sticks was the music director of, and he was music director, head drummer, and choir conductor of Daystar Christian Center. And he produced and directed the annual Daystar Christmas Center, Daystar Carol concerts until 2017. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you so much.
First of all, let's talk about that Daystar, because that's the one that people used to know you a lot more.
Yes.
Tell us what informed it and for how long it was on.
Yeah, thank you so much. For a while, before like early 2000s, a period, most people celebrate Christmas in the Western way. You know, we have Christmas tune, Christmas songs. So Christmas carol songs, some are secular, some are choral. So people sing this song. Well, of course, most of these elements of Christmas carol song, they are Western culture, Western lifestyle, Western, art music. So we African, this way we're used to repeat the same song, like 12 days of Christmas, things that are not really relevant to our culture. So we want to repeat the same song on our own context.
The same way.
So I got the point. We can't all continue like this, and God gave me the idea.
We can't be singing snow when we don't have snow.
Exactly. We can't continue like this. So then, with all humility, known to me, I never knew any church or any choir then celebrating Christmas carol in that context of African, background. No known one. It's only, I think one artist tried one or two songs. Olufumi, then Eko FM, year 2000.
Yes.
He tried one or two chorus, but on the context of
with
heavy choral, no known music director. Then it was tough. Then people didn't really believe in me. How will it work? How can we have? So we tried to juxtapose African drumming. Bring it up to embellish on accompanying Western song. So now the thematic idea now, of course, is the message itself. So we try to use their tune as a medium of conveying the musicality, and we now we juxtapose that with our own lyrical flow. So we bring in some African lyrics, with some African drumming, with Western tune.
Did you have talking drums?
Of course.
We are coming there.
Of course.
The drums were talking Christmas messages.
So we try to, to combine cross culture of Western elements, which is the musicality now, with the content, which is our own musical heritage, our culture, our drumming, our dancing. We marry them, and that at the point around 2004, for the first time, another genre of music emerged, and people started celebrating Christmas carol at that level. And
it got to a point, Alero, that from what I know, other choirs waited for Daystar's carol concert to
have material.
They have their own first. They now go and do their own. How did that feel?
Well, of course, even I was like in a way cutting away. People sometimes they call me. Some pastors call me. Please, what exact date is your carol? Before it got established that second Sunday, pastors call me. Please, we don't want to fix our carol clash with your own, but we know that people will not come. In fact, some choristers of other churches, choristers, probably their carol fell on the same day with Daystar. Choristers will not rope in do their own carol. Choristers, attend this
We'll
time.
come to this time.
Then I knew that I knew that God, this is beyond me.
Okay.
And
So, but tell us about the industry before we talk about other issues. You are a drummer. Tell us about the African percussions, because you heard Alero just talk about infusing African percussions into hymns. Tell us about that. Tell us what you've spoken about what you felt necessitated it. What drove you into drumming?
Yeah, well, okay, two things now. Okay, reading. Reading. All my life has been reading. I do a lot of rhythmic permutation. I love reading, and I grew up in the midst to know that one heritage God has given Africa is reading. Reading is very, very strong. We're strong in reading. The Western world can talk about maybe in Europe harmony, others, but reading is strong in Africa. So it's one of our heritage, even from our speech, delivery. So we have the long moral and short moral. So all this help us to build strong rhythmic context, complex rhythmic structure. So I held on to that at early stage. So I tailored my drumming. Then those I stopped playing jazz.
You already
taught
get
you how to drum.
Exactly. How did that start? That's
okay.
The drumming. What made you be interested in drumming? You now chose.
You went to go and study. Study music and study drumming.
Focus on drumming. What exactly? We are good there.
Yes, of course. Let me say, take it from reading. I love reading. Those days, in the 80s, there were very few drummers, very, very few drummers. 80s then, those days, the main concept then was Lekki Sunsplash.
Oh yes.
That's the main.
Yeah,
that's the main, and Jazzville. That's a major area you find. So, but I noticed that those days, few drummers, that drum, we try to emulate Western, play jazz, play, want to be like, like Onyebos, But I found that it's each time I drum and I improvise, I find that people respond to me more. So far I'm drumming for people of my culture, people that are around me. Why should I want to entertain them with funk or hip hop? So I caught this earlier, but most drummers were still trying to find their bearing. That's one thing I can attribute to God. God helped me to discover myself as an early stage. My area of strength is reading. So, and that's what most musicians are struggling with. The earlier you know your area of strength, stay by it. So I caught that area of strength, I stood by it, and I think I should go deeper into studying music. I can't continue like that. Let me back myself up with some elements. Of course, I grew up in church. My dad was a pastor, so we're opportune to have a good musical background. We used to join the choir then, CAC Shaba. To join the choir then, you must pass ABRSM. And
what's that?
ABRSM, Association Board of Royal School of Music. So ABRSM, Association Board of Royal School of Music. So for you to pass that exam, you have to go through some level of musical background training. So you must pass the exam. Then I think we then need to pay £5 or so. So they send some delegates from UK. It's a major exam. It's not just So I grew up at that background. So I've been playing music, started music at early stage, at my teenagers years. So at that level, I found need for me to go to university to study more. So getting to university now, I met a roadblock. No drummer, no lecturer to teach me drum. No lecturer, no lecturer to supervise drum. So then my HOD then was provider was smart enough and it just piqued interest in me. This guy loved to drum African, So they gave me the name then in K6. They gave me K6 then.
How?
In OAU.
How did they?
Everywhere I went then, I always move around drumsticks. At any interval of lecture, I found myself in the corridor practicing some rudiments. So people knew me in OAU with drumsticks. So they gave me the name K6 as far back as 1991. So So Casey became an household name. So the HOD now tried to pick interest in me.
Kunle sticks.
KK sticks, Kunle sticks. Because, and one thing that also helped me is that at that period, I've found an area of interest of myself on rhythm, playing African rhythm. That stood me out among other drummers that play funk, jazz, or Western music. So I've formed that niche myself.
But that's not to say you can't play all those funk, jazz, and all of those things. Of course.
But
you just decided to choose this niche.
But I found that also for musical heritage, for this country, what's relevant of my drumming to an average Nigerian is playing jazz. I love jazz. I'm not condemning other genre of music, but I found that I looked into what an average Nigerian will appreciate
right
and
there
respond
on
to.
Stage. Okay.
So then the HOD then beckoned on Nigerian Navy. Those days, Nigeria was very much okay to sponsor the Air Force, Navy, to study music. So we have some great drummers in Nigerian Navy, great guys, great like Osagi, the past. So they sent me down to Nigerian Navy slow music, and they got some material to assess me in Ife. So they assessed me through that,
So you attended University of Ife, Navy Center.
Yeah. So that caught my attention that then drummer. Can I fill this gap? So I proceeded to my master's there. My master's, Ife retained me for my PhD, and by then, by the grace of God, I became the known drum lecturer around then.
I've seen some of your videos also teaching drums, like you are using mathematics. I'm wondering, God Almighty. Tell us about this video that is on. There's one we saw earlier.
Yeah, the lighting is not too good because I can't really see the picture.
Oh, it's just the drummer that was on air earlier. What necessitated this show that you put up? Okay,
this is called drum art. Okay. In drum art, we use drum language as a surrogate for woman voice. And one thing that like I said, my research, my PhD, my master's research was on drum language.
Okay.
We explore different drum language, different drum elements in Nigeria. That as far as the north, east.
Drum language.
Yes.
Are you saying that when you hear drums, you understand what the drums are saying?
Yes. An average Nigerian that's very strong in culture is cool about drum language. Not just.
And it doesn't have to be a talking drum.
No.
It can be any drum.
Anything. Down to agogo. Those days, the town crier, they used a gong to communicate, to pass message to some codified drum movement to the villagers. So the villagers they are cool about particular drum cowbell code. When they have some code, it's a danger. There's some code that depicts, joy, good news, Some depicts
maybe
war.
Oba's wife has had a baby.
Yeah, pending. So drum language.
Danger.
Yeah, danger. So drum language, can be as far as just mere drum, agogo, cowbell, down to other elements, talking drum, down to beduoba and others. So drum has this ability to imitate spoken word by hiding on the rhythmic flow. So our languages in Africa, they are very tonal. High tone, mid tone, and low tone. So our drums has the ability to imitate the languages through the spoken word, through the high tone, mid tone, and low tone. So good drummers in Africa that are good in poetic declamation or proverbial words, they can easily imitate drum language, imitate spoken words on drums.
So if Ara, of course you know Ara and her talking drum. So if she walked in here now and played her drum, you would understand everything that she was saying with her drum.
Yes. Let me give us one secret, one heads up to that. It's difficult for any non-carrier of culture to understand drum language. But one thing that will always help is that contextual usage. So when the drummer comes in now, the drummer will most likely greet. So that's one element to know that, to appreciate drum language. So the greeting and then need, you want to ask a question, So it's easy for me because, of course, I'm a drummer, so I easily communicate.
You are not just a drummer, Dr. K-Sticks. Should I call you Dr. K-Sticks or just K-Sticks?
K-Sticks.
Should I? Because, okay, for instance, we saw, earlier, a choir you were conducting. What led you into music conducting?
Okay, well, thank you. At the point, I saw a need for me to appeal to more people than on the stage than just drumming. I performed with so many drummers and so many artists.
Such as?
Megale Gospel, from Dupé Olúlànà, Demos Deniro,
those old school people.
Bola Panapatipo, down, accompanying them on drum. Even Ebenezer Obey, when he came into gospel, Ebenezer Obey. And but I found out that I was only confined to sitting down at the back to drum. And I knew that I had a lot inside of me to express, And I saw the vacuum in how to permutate with rhythm, how to make our musical elements, put them into rhythm and for better expression. So I saw the need within myself to, beyond just drumming, I know if I stand in the front of the choir, I can appeal to more people. I can get more result than drumming. Those days I used to drum, I had to be confined on rhythm, keep rhythm, You're not allowed to do anything other than playing rhythm, except when you're allowed to improvise. But I believe if I'm directing choir, I can do more for God. I can touch more lives. I can express myself more. So that's what led me into going into directing choir.
Are you still teaching at the University of Ife?
No.
What do you do now?
Okay, now, thank you. Now I'm a director of cross-cultural musical. I've always been within me to bring something up that cross-culture. I see a need to, in our diversity, there are some things that are very unique that can portray unity. Even in our diversity, I see unity. So it's tough for me to stand out, to stand out as a music director in this aspect. Most people want to embrace one particular culture, stay in one culture. I see need to bring culture together. So the unity in our diversity led me to want to go into cross-culture. So for a while now, I've been trying to bring in cultural elements from different geographical locations, And I started that in Daystar, when we used to use bata drum. Bata drum are the acoustic instruments, or bata, omele, sakara, So meanwhile, Western instruments, violin, orchestra, they're well-tempered or tuned. They're tuned instruments. Let me not go into detail. They are very, very structured. They are tuned. They've been tampered with. It's not natural. Okay, something is organic. So those piano or instruments, they've tampered with them to tune them so that it can sound a particular way globally.
All over the world.
So the piano C4 or the middle C of any piano in the US will sound the same, to 256 CPS in Abuja and anywhere in the world.
In India.
Yeah, India. But a talking drummer in maybe in Ghana, playing gaga, we tune the drum based on the cultural, the oral perception.
Yes.
So there's this freedom.
Yes.
So I tend to gravitate towards something more natural. It's more natural with us. So now most people embrace the natural acoustic instruments. Most people embrace Western. I saw a meeting point. Can we marry acoustic instruments with the Western and to bring in elements? So we started that in 2005 in Daystar. People criticized me. It's not possible. We are breaking musical laws, And I forged ahead. Thank God that then I was a scholar. Then at 2005, I already had my master's. So that gave me this kind of background. If I was not school, I'll be scared. Oh, musical law, law.
Okay. The part of the law breaking that you did, that you have not been arrested for, is in this song. Let's listen to it for a bit and you tell us about it. Well, that's K-sticks on the big drums, right?
Yes.
What do you call that? We call it drum sets.
Drums, yeah, drum set. Trap drums.
Trap drums.
T-R-A-P.
Okay.
Trap
but before that, we saw a choir. Tell us about that choir.
That cross-culture choir, one of the things God helped me to achieve.
Because I could see some white people.
Some Asian.
I
even saw an Asian, yes.
Yeah. Yes. One of the things that God enabled me to achieve in the Western world, when I left the country, I didn't leave the country because I just want to look for bearing. I knew I was going for a particular course to establish what they call cross-cultural musical. I saw myself conducting people of different culture, different nationalities, different background, And getting to the US, I sampled this opinion with my friends. It's tough. How will you bring Chinese to sing the same song with Filipino, with South Korea, with Yoruba? But I saw it. I knew it was possible. That's the way God allow you to get something on your mind, And our God is so great. The moment you can conceive something, or you can conceive, and trust in God for enablement to make it, to achieve it.
So if you can think it,
you can achieve it.
You can achieve it.
Those are the things our pastor, Pastor Sam, train us with, idea rules the world, and concept idea, And God is the one that, furnish us with idea. So we got this idea daily. Idea pass through our mind daily. It depends on how we stand by them and hold on to them, believe in God. So I saw this years back that it's possible for different language, background, cultural elements, heritage to come together. So I went ahead, to approach churches, Indian churches. Sometimes they send me back. It's not possible. They're pastors. South Korea churches, I have to go to them. Who are you? Sometimes I have to go with interpreter. This is possible. I show them biblical references. No, it's not possible. Anyway, to fast forward, somehow now we have on the same stage now. We had two major editions. In fact, the one we had last year, we had more of Middle East, Iran, Syria, Jordan, Indian, Filipino, Chinese, Africa. It was huge. Not this version, the one we had for this version. And I thank God for allowing us to achieve this.
What happened? Tell us. Because I've seen some of your videos where I'm seeing the Japanese,
yes,
taiko drum.
The taiko drum.
Then their guitar on the ground, the one, I don't know, Hawaiian or whatever it is. So tell us how you how do uncommon friends become common? Because you talked about tempered and untempered music instruments. How did they, come together?
Thank you. When I was in OAU, I was one lecturing music of the world culture in Ife. So that's my area of strength. In fact, they allow me to take that course. So I never knew God was preparing me for bigger assignments. So then I've learned a lot about Japanese music, the daku, taiko drum, Indian tabla, Indonesia music, down to North Africa, Central Africa. So I've been able to learn some background, learn some musical background about world cultural music. So getting to US, it was easy for me to achieve this. Then and because I believe I'm fluent in reading music. I believe I'm fluent, reading and writing. So I'm able to understand the cultural heritage of India. In India, they have one or two elements that's close to Africa. So I brought in the elements in Indian music with the Middle East. Like now, the Jordan, Syrian, Middle East, they play tabla. India also play tabla. So I know some frequencies of tabla. I know they make movement of tabla in line with our bata drum. So I know how to just juxtapose bata drum. No, bata has two faces, ojojo and sasa. So I know what ojojo does, what sasa does, you know. So, and how do I combine sasa, ojojo, that boom, boom.
Okay.
That one that had the ida. Okay. So the sasa, the high pitch tone drum of bata has some elements with tabla of Jordan, you know. So I'll be able to identify those elements while I was lecturing in Ife. You know, this is a thing I taught, you know. So getting to the field now, one thing I've been trusting God to do that. I don't want to be a lecturer. Those days, my students know that I won't give a drum piece exam that I can't play. Any exam I cannot play myself, I won't give you. So for me to be able to play exam piece and I give it to you and you want to play that, no. So I try to make sure I be the first to fail the test or to pass or fail. So I try to, you know, combine the gown and town, which means the gown, the academic world and, you know, Western world outside. You know. So getting to the field now, you know, in the US, I was able to, of course, before that, I've been going to US before that for the cultural exchange. Sometimes OAU send me to US for some cultural exchange to, you know, to represent Nigeria. So I've been able to teach our drum art to some universities in the US. So I've been doing that for a while. I've done a couple of events with drum and Nigerian drum and tap and Indian drum. So now it's not easy for me to now bring all this together, you know, and see, it's tough, you know. But now look at the continents, you know. Look at the Asia, the South America, North America. I pick different musical ideology from
the various continents.
Yeah, from different continents. You know, Asia. So I dwell more on South America, on Asia, and Africa. Okay. So they have more strong musical heritage there. So I dwelt more on that and brought all together with vocal, with voices. And
so you made a Japanese to be singing Isheolua.
Yeah, Japanese.
Well, God is watching you. But you know, just one question, and this might be a little controversial. Definitely, from like the 80s into the 90s, I've seen that Africans are more African in their music appreciation. We tend to go more with our cultural, you know, stuff now than then. But it would seem like if you were to speak to music generally, how well are Africans doing with African music? There is this controversy around Afrobeats with an S. I'm sure you have heard about it. It's all about rhythm. What do you make of all of that controversy? Do you think it is necessary? Did we need to be struggling about genre? What do you make of African music as it is going all over the world? Do you see it sustainable, or you think we need to do something?
Yes. In fact, it's going. We're going to a point at which Western world right now they are looking out for new sound, different sound, cultural sound. They're almost tired, almost tired of their sound. So these guys now, they are trying to embrace our culture. Right now, in the Western world, Afro music is doing great. Some mall, sometimes I go to some malls, some stores, they're playing, whiskey music, typical, Western world. So these elements that we got, Afro hip hop now, is doing great now in the Western world. So we shouldn't look down on what we got. African music is a strong one in the Western world. People can go any length to want to learn to study. I have a professor of music in Texas. He traveled down to US, to OAU then, for months to study the drum, our culture. And now this guy now in Texas is doing great with that. I think I sent
drums.
Okay.
Drums.
I saw you. Okay, that professor. He was on the talking drum, and you were on the
So
trap drum.
cross culture. I was on trap drums. It's on dudum. Yalu dudum. Yalu is one of the strong emblem of African culture.
Yeah.
Not just talking drum now. Yalu dudum. We do shawuru. Now you see a white guy,
Playing that.
Playing. I came to study for months in Nigeria. So I think we should embrace what God has given us. So I'm not seeing us, and I'm not seeing African music going down. I see it going up more and more. So
going upper.
Upper. So
Now,
I think we should embrace what God has given us.
One quick little one. How popular is the study of drum at university level?
To be sincere, not too popular. Now, back home here, it's not really good because, of course, who are the lecturers? Who are the ones going to teach them?
To lecture, So like you said, you couldn't find a teacher when you went in.
I couldn't find a teacher. And even when I became the lecturer in Ife, I didn't stay. I couldn't. When I got to US, my colleagues at other universities, in East, North, South, they called me to assist them, send them material to assess students. So while in the US, up till last few months ago, I still help some lecturers in Nigeria. This is my country. Help them to assess students from back home, get them material. So I think our government just needs to help Nigeria education in the area of policy, policy making, enhance Nigerian music schools, music departments, from materials. How many drum departments can boast of drum sets?
Wow.
To start with, drum sets.
Well, it's not only.
Is it very expensive?
No. But
computer science students too don't use
exactly.
So.
Drum. I remember when I was relocating, one of my drums, I had to leave it out to music departments. My personal drum. A few months after, the student called me, K6, no more drum. It's government to help Nigerian institutions. So the music department, materials.
To the question that she asked, a quick follow-up to it would be, do you see technology threatening the study of drums?
It will be very difficult. It will be very, very...
Because all the drums are on the keyboard now, so...
No, they try to sample... That's been for years.
It's different.
Of course, it can be. It's like organic and synthetic. It can be. There'll be so many research work that talk about it. I think I published one or two papers about this how synthetic drumming or drum tone can't be compared with the natural tone of this hour. So even I try my style of drumming. I play trap drum, Western drum. So I try to express myself, my ideology on Western drum, still on this cross culture. So I've embraced cross culture for years. So all I do on drum, on my Western drum, I try to make some proverbial words. I try to communicate. What an average bata would do. By the way, my PhD thesis is on bata drum. So I understand this bamu, joge, jode. So all this what they do, I can replicate them all on what an average bata drum would, all this, so all this heritage, I can build them up on Western drums. So even with that, I see need for me to communicate, for myself to communicate to the world, communicate my intent, my musical ideology from Western drums, not talking drum. So honestly, our culture is strong. There's no how African drumming or drum art will go down. No. And technology, AI, it will be tough. I don't know the future, but I know it will be tough because there's something about African drum. It's majorly based on this tradition, culture, other perception.
A lot more on emotions.
Yeah, a lot more on infilling than theory, than practical. So it will be tough for African drumming to go down. It will be very tough.
No. So what do you do now?
So, thank you. So right now I'm working on, right now I consult for churches and institutions.
Oh, you're back home finally.
I'm
this one is an international correspondent.
Between and betwixt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So for now I embrace what they call cross-culture musical. So I've registered cross-culture and doing well in the Western world. I think registered, with 501c3. so we can stage concerts, well known, not that we're doing backdoor. It was registered, U.S. government gave us all the mentorship approval. So it's on its own, it's a non-profit company on its own. So cross-cultural musical, and we also now recently registered it in Nigeria, in Abuja, in CC. So we have cross-culture back in the US and here. So we're looking at ideal time when we got all the logistics in place and government policy will help us. We know what's going on in our country right now. A lot of issues, differences, insecurity. But even in our differences, there's some unifying factor, So we're looking at how do we bring out our cultural heritage, bring them, get some Idoma, the
Hausa, Fulani,
the Benue, the Atilugu,
all of them in one choir.
So not in one choir yet,
I'm just wondering.
Yet.
Yes, I won't expose what we're looking at. Okay. So there's some virtues, we have in those elements, bring them together for the whole world to see, So we're working on a couple of stuff, but mainly on cross-cultural musical, and of course the aspect of choral also, the choir, trying to also look into how can we beyond the walls of church now. I'm for redeem. I'm for him. How can we? What's the role of music in the Christendom? How can we? God did not tell us that this particular church will be the route to heaven. It's not about church. So where the church.
It's about the body.
So body of Christ.
Body of Christ.
So beyond the denomination of churches, what they have, their musical heritage. How can we bring the best out of, get the best that God has put in every chorister.
Of each of them.
So we're working on that, some things in line with that, and of course, things that also benefit Nigerian cultural heritage, our pride, nationalistic pride, So we're working on this. This is our underground. Now that we have registered cross-cultural musical in Nigeria, so we're working on some things that we trust God that in due season will come to pass.
How about mentoring? Because you spoke about it, you just stated it, but how much of a need is that? Particularly because a good number of secular artists today started from the church, and they are now wherever they are now. So what's the place of mentoring in all these?
I think that that's more, it starts from one to a level. Government policies that will probably encourage an average person or a average student to want to study music and to see hope. After studying music, is there hope for me? So I remember those days when I was still in Nigeria, some parents would call me, "Oga lecturer, our son is saying he wants to study music, that you're doing. Can my child succeed, like you?" I said, "No, you can't, like you." So I see. I usually encourage the parents to allow the children to study music, but everything still based on boils onto government policies to help on Nigerian music, Nigerian institutions, encourage them to equip.
It sounds like you're saying that government doesn't see the need to support
institutions in the area of art and culture. So encourage people to want to go into music. So how equip our music departments, how even the lecturers, how equip at the fair, how many. Most people want to go towards private universities. How many private universities is offering music courses, in their schools,
Yeah.
So it's more music courses are more in federal schools and state schools, not really on private schools. And the government need to encourage federal schools, equip them, Like I said, how many federal schools can boast of common 2 or 3 drums? So that policy in that area. Also churches and institutions also encourage, pastors encourage music performances in the area of supporting artists, supporting artists, and I think that will help people to want to do more into music.
Okay, well,
thank you so much.
K-Sticks.
Sounds like we are not done with you yet, but we are done with the program. Dr. Kunle Pinmiloye, K-Sticks, award-winning international musician, professional drummer, drum instructor, music lecturer, music producer, choir trainer and conductor, music director, 3 decades of rich and awe-inspiring music, multicultural experience, and former producer and director of the annual Daystar Christian Center Carol Concert. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate
Thank you so much.
the education.
Thank you so much.
Okay.